Sticking with the strategy he wanted to do with his life. He'd just been trying things out. Maybe it was time to try out something a little more radical. Jamie reached his hand out for another donut and realized he'd already eaten them all. He stood up and tossed his trash into the waiting bin. The rain had slowed to a drizzle, though the sky was as dark and lowering as ever. He walked out into the wet streets, and the coffee shop door closed with a little tinkle of a bell behind him. Jamie paused on the sidewalk, wondering whether to turn right and walk back home to find something on Netflix to watch the rest of the day, or to go left towards the park, taking advantage of the lull and hoping it would clear up and he'd be able to spend a pleasant morning in nature after all. He thought about seeing some real trees or going back to his apartment with nothing but pictures of trees in the wall and one houseplant that refused to grow no matter how he babied it. Jamie decided to go to the park. Like the coffee shop, he had the park all to himself too. The grass, still a little brown from winter snows, was soggy underfoot, and the trees drooped sadly under the damp air. There was more wind here than there had been on the streets, and Jamie zipped his coat up more tightly. An unusually strong gust blew a shower of soaking pine needles into his face, stinging him uncomfortably. Jamie brushed them off and spat into the grass, regretting coming. He liked trees but didn't need them in his face. A sudden light, followed almost instantly by a booming roll of thunder, startled him, and he hurried under the nearest pavilion before the rain cut loose again. Once he found a relatively dry spot, he hunkered down in his coat and took out his phone. He was still thinking about going into business for himself, and he wanted to sit down and calculate exactly how much capital he had. True, he'd done that just last month, but his stocks had been doing well since then. Jamie thought comfortably of how much money he'd made on the stock market. He had hardly even paid attention to it, just done what his wealthy uncle advised, but it had gone well, and Jamie felt like he was obviously good at it. His uncle had made a fortune day trading. By the by, Jamie wondered why it had never occurred to him to day trade before. He'd heard his uncle rant on how low risk it was if you stuck solidly to a 1%, or was it a 10% gain strategy? Well, whatever. Jamie knew his uncle loved to talk and would tell him everything he could possibly want or need to know about day trading. The more he thought about it, the more Jamie liked the idea. He had plenty of capital to start with and was more than ready to quit his job. He called in his resignation from right there in the park and then walked home, feeling like it had been the best birthday ever. The storm had stopped and the clouds parted, letting sunny rays of light shine through them. But Jamie didn't stop to notice. He took his coat off and let the sun dry and warm him without thinking about it. And when he got home, he watched his favorite shows over again. Jamie called his uncle the next day and wrote down half of what he said, and then spent some time setting up everything he needed with a broker. The time flew by, and he was shocked when his mom called at 8 o'clock, and he hadn't had dinner yet. "Hello, Jamie," she said. "How is the baseball card collecting going?" "Mom, I've started day trading, not collecting cards." "Oh, I got confused. What's the difference?" "Day trading is with stocks, Mom. I'll buy stocks when they're at a low point and sell them again the same day when they've gone up. It's a great idea, don't you think? I keep up with all the news and try to predict what the market'll do next. I've been building charts and stuff all day. And then the brokers have a simulator so I can practice. Well, anyways, it gets into some complicated stuff, but there's a lot of money in it, and it's loads of fun. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying it. I hope it lasts longer than that job you had mowing grass. I didn't mow, Mom. I just kept the books for the company. They paid you to keep their books? It means to keep track of their money and accounting. Oh, sounds pretty easy. Why did you quit? They didn't pay well, but day trading is different. If I don't make money, it'll be my own fault. Well, I know how you like trying new things, son. But rolling stones gather no moss. Don't you worry, Mom. Day trading is just my thing. I've loved every minute of it. This is my niche. I'm gonna do great. Well, I was just calling to see how it was going. I'm glad it's lasted at least a day. I'll let you go now and get back to your trading. Love you. Love you, Mom. Bye. Jamie hung up, laughing a little. Mom was always on him every time he changed sports or careers or jobs. She never thought any new thing was as good as the last one. Rolling stones gather no moss. He'd heard that 1,000 times if he'd heard it once. Who wanted to gather moss? For that first week, Jamie worked hard with lots of enthusiasm. He was just practicing on the simulator